Go.
Hi, welcome to NIC1, or Diversity, Inclusion, and Exceptional Learners. I'm Janae Reiser. I'm one of the course mentors.
I'm Carl Swenson, the other course mentor.
And we wanted to just take you through NIC1 and to give you a heads up on some effective ways in navigating through this new objective assessment. First of all, we wanted to help you understand a little bit about the purpose behind NIC1. Most students in college have to take a special education class or an intro to special education. In this situation, you will have the opportunity, and this is kind of like your special education 101 class. So you'll have the opportunity to learn quite a bit about working with special ed type of students. Specifically, you're going to be learning about working with students with high incidences, which are several different types of disabilities, and learning how to work with them in the classroom, whether it's through instruction or technology or assessments. And that will be the focus, particularly for this NIC1 course. So Carl's going to show you the particular competencies that will be covered in this course. You can see if you go into the course of study, and if you click on the introduction, and you'll see that there is a little, I guess if you hover over it, you can click on it, and it gives you the competencies for the diversity, inclusion, and exceptional learners. Just a couple of competencies that I wanted to highlight. One is the legal implications of special education, understanding the laws behind special ed. Also being able to identify students. I think as a teacher, it's so important to be able to understand and see some of those characteristics that maybe a learning disabled student might have, or a hearing impaired or a speech issue. It's so great as a teacher to be able to recognize some of those disabilities. Also, instructional strategies in special education, I think, is also a great tool to learn. As a teachers, we always want to be successful with all of our students, but especially those students who struggle in our classroom. So you can see there's several different competencies that you'll be learning about. And again, this is very applicable to you in the classroom and being successful with your students.
Thanks, Janae. We're going to go on now, and we're going to talk about preparing for success and how the best way for students to get through this course of study. As we begin to work our way through the course of study, oftentimes it will be suggested that the student should write in his or her notebook or complete this work study or this project. Those things are very important to the success of the student in this particular course of study. Since there are no performance assessments, since it's only an objective assessment, the only way for the student to know that the student is doing well is to complete the course of study. And as we go through this course of study, that notebook, whether it's an electronic notebook or whether it's a good old-fashioned spiral binder, really doesn't matter, because the whole purpose here is that once we write those things down, either electronically or on paper, they become more of a part of us. And students can also take this notebook, whether it's electronic or paper, to the classroom. Once they've completed this, it'll be very helpful as time goes on. One thing that will help with the completion of this course of study, and also will help for future courses of study, is for students to be engaged with the WGU library. The library offers just a myriad of advantages to the student. There are literally tens of thousands of books. There's access to literally hundreds of thousands of academic journals and articles. So what's available in the library is just unbelievable. One of the things that's really different for this particular course of study is the way that the learning resources are handled. First of all, it's really nifty that all of the the learning resources are deep linked right in the course of study. We don't have any third-party platforms to go to. We don't have to worry about any login information or anything like that. I'm about to click on one of those learning resources right now. The book suggests that we read, or I'm sorry, the course of study suggests that we read chapter 2 in a book called Special Education in Contemporary Society. When the student clicks on that particular link, this is what comes up. And this is the first page of that chapter. And so it's very, very nice that these things are deep linked. As we go through, we'll find that we also have included a number of video clips from a website called Educational Impact. And Educational Impact has provided just tons of sources for us. I'm going to take us to one of those clips right now. This has to do with school law. I'm going to mute him so that we don't have to hear him while we're talking about this. But so it's that easy for the students to move back and forth through this course of study. The final learning resource that I'd like to show you has to do with something called STAR Legacy modules. And if we look here in identifying student needs under characteristics and criteria, you'll notice that we have all of the categories of disabilities are listed here so that the students will have an opportunity to learn about all of those. We've included in gifted and talented students, which in the Jacob Javits law are actually included in special education. And then also here is an area on diversity in the classroom. Mostly we're looking at students at risk here. You'll note that the student is asked to complete the following STAR Legacy module. So when we click on that, where we go is directly to a module that has been created by Peabody College from the university, or from Vanderbilt University. These are really, really excellent sources. We start in the challenge of the module. And as we click on the challenge, what will open up typically with these is a very short video that kind of sets the scene for the rest of the module. So once we've viewed that, then we'll go back here and we'll look at the thoughts section of the module. And basically we're asking questions, and these are desired to be critical thinking questions. These are the ones that students should really take to heart as they're going through these modules. The third section is resources and perspectives, and what this section gives us are pages and pages and pages of really great resources and ideas. And then there's an assessment portion to the module, and this is a self-assessment, so that we, as students, we understand that we've completed it the way we should. And then finally, there's a summary that brings us right back to the beginning. And that's basically how we work through the STAR Legacy modules. There are some other, excuse me, there are some other learning resources that are linked. We take students directly to websites. We take students directly to PDF documents that are important for them to read. And as I said before, the really nifty thing is that everything is right there. On the left side of the course of study is the course menu. I have opened all 8 of the sections. And here in characteristics and criteria, we notice that at the beginning of a particular section, we're going to see the objectives that will be covered in this topic. And these objectives are exceptionally important. And as Janae takes over and begins to talk about preparing for the assessment, you'll understand even more so why these objectives are important.
Thanks, Carl. I think it's really important as students, we all learn differently. We all retain differently. And so like Carl mentioned with the notebook, We want to make sure that as we read things, as we watch things, as we access things, that we're taking notes on those things so that we can prepare for the assessment. In each section, like Carl mentioned, there are some objectives that are going to be covered. What we would encourage you to do is in your notebook, either write down those objectives or write down what your response is to those objectives once you've learned the material in that particular section. I know for me, as a learner, I do better if I read something and then write down what I've learned or take notes on what I'm reading so I can refer back to that as a reference. I think sometimes as students we think if we read something that should count and be good enough for us to remember it. And that's not necessarily the case, especially, like Carl mentioned, there's 8 sections that are going to be, you're going to be learning about. Within each of those sections, there's several different areas that you'll be specifically focusing on. So you want to make sure that you're preparing the best way possible and understanding what you're going to be expected to be able to show competency in. When preparing for the assessment or the objective exam in NIC1, the first thing we would encourage you to do is take the pre-assessment. If you go to your degree plan, you'll see the pre-assessment tab, and you'll click on that pre-assessment, and you'll be able to take that pre-assessment. Once you take that pre-assessment, you'll get some information back, and that information will guide you in how to use the course of study and focusing on the areas that you are weak in. A couple of criteria when it comes to preparing for the objective exam. We would encourage you to score at least 77 to 70% on the pre-assessment before you schedule a request to take the objective assessment. When doing that, if you don't score above the 77%, that's okay. That just means there's some areas you need to focus on. And again, using your coaching report and working with us will help you in preparing the best to take that exam. The exam itself and also the pre-assessment are very similar as far as how many questions are asked. There are 56 questions that are asked on the pre-assessment as well as on the objective exam. Also, a passing score, or the cut score, as we call it, is 72% on the pre-assessment as well as the objective assessment. So again, that's why we encourage students to get at least 77% to 80% on the pre-assessment, just because increasing or having a 5% increase on your pre-assessment helps you when you're going into the exam, because sometimes when we take exams we get nervous or other factors that factor into it, and so we just want you to feel prepared the best way possible, and that's scoring well on the pre-assessment. If you do score well in the pre-assessment, we would still encourage you to work through the coaching report, review some of those areas that maybe you were lower in or maybe that you didn't understand as well, because again, we want to be competent teachers. We want to understand strategies in working with special ed students in our classroom. We want to understand the different types of special ed students that we may be working with. So again, preparing for success is part of the whole process in being ready to and pass the objective assessment.
Thanks, Janae. That's all good advice. So let me remind you again. I'm Carl Swenson, and you've been listening to Janae Reiser. We're both the course mentors for diversity and inclusion and exceptional students, and we're here to help you. We can very easily be reached through a joint inbox, diversity@wgu.edu. Thanks for your time. Good luck in the course. Get in touch with us, and we'll help you through it. Goodbye.
Bye.